Shalom. I want to first and foremost give all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rechak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David that is scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, I want y'all to hear this, man. So you got down in Australia an attempt to put together an anti-hate task force against anti-Semitism. And it's like, how much are they going to try to silence the world, you know, of the criticism that they're getting from the constant genocidal behavior? You know, the fact that what they're doing over there in Gaza and Palestine, you're not supposed to say nothing about that. You know, you're not supposed to say anything. So they're just going to muscle the world into not saying nothing about the genocidal crimes that they are involved with. You know, the corrupt operations that they're behind. You know, the amount of control and influence over our governments, the Congress. You know, well, I'm not going to say our government. It ain't my government, Salakia. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. You have all this influence and control and the power of the sword to commit mass genocide on people. But, you know, you say anything remotely about it, you know, they can throw out the anti-Sem card at you. So this is all part of why you're being despised among all people. All right, because other races of people that are getting attacked, you know, they don't have a anti-hate task force to protect them. All right, they don't have an ADL. You know, they don't have, you know, any of these support systems, all right, built into society to actually protect and you know, give them the privileges that these people have. But they're the main ones crying about anti this and hate that. This is the only group where you get to hate, you know, you get to showcase it. You get to play victim, all while being the aggressor at the same time. Now that's privilege right there. So peep this real quick. Let's watch this. This is real short. This is in Australia.
Just as the fire came to the front door here of this shul, but it was stopped, so too must we put a stop to hate, put a stop to anti-Semitism. Not only does it have no place here in Melbourne and Victoria, it has no place anywhere, which is why, alongside pledging my support and my government's support, practical support to the community here, providing support for mental...
Now, this is probably because of some situation, probably something staged, because usually, you know, that's what they'll do. You know, they'll set up an event, and then they'll come with the narrative. You know, there was, you know, this was motivated by hate, you know, or hate speech. And because of this deed, you know, we have to come with an anti-freedom type of legislation, you know, to chip away at your right to be able to, you know, speak. So, you know, you can see what the play is every time you hear them speak, man. And this is why, you know, daily, you know, that you know, people are despising them, you know, by the masses. Because it's based on what you do. It's your actions. All right?
Mental health services be guided by the community what more they need in responding to this hateful incident on Friday evening. So too, we spoke about the future, about how...
And by the way, they're on the same timing here in the States. All right, remember some of the things that Trump had been saying about how they want to also combat, this, anti-Sem agenda. All right, by, because if they suspect you of, speaking ill of their, Zionist regime and their agendas, you speak against their establishment, the people, the influence, control that they have, you're liable to be visited. You can be penalized, whether they arrest you. They can basically come for you. It's now a crime to speak against them. And that's who's, they put him in office because it pretty much extended the Zionist control over, society as a whole. And with the dominant position that America holds, for them to put in a sworn in small hat who's going to, basically be a puppet for them, they pretty much extended their power. So they're going to do this all around. So here we are. They're going to make you an offender for a word. So you ain't going to have to really necessarily physically do anything. All they will do is just make you an offender. We always go to this in Isaiah. It's Isaiah 29 and verse, starting at the 20th verse. And it says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate." And in these sensitive times, criticism is now equals hate. All right, when you speaking upright and you renouncing all the evil, you're actually speaking evil. You're being hateful. All right. So now they'll just make you an offender, and they'll find a way to censor you, or they can even lock you up. All right. It says, "And turn aside the just for a thing of naught." So that's the aim. All right. Let's go to Isaiah 59 and not 59. Yeah, 59 and 15. Yeah, Isaiah 59 and 15, it says, "Yes, truth is gone," because you can't speak the truth. They're making it, they damn near making it illegal to speak the truth, which is why ultimately they're going to try to come against the servants, the prophets, all right, to try to combat, the freedom of speech. All right. It says, "And anyone who renounces evil is attacked." Yep. So you speak against the establishment. You speak against what the government is doing. You speak against the small hat. You will be attacked and possibly arrested. It says, "The Lord looked and was displeased to find there was no justice." Everything is just one-sided, towards these people. All right. They're the only people on the face of the planet that can receive justice. So this is why the world is getting sick and tired, man. So let's I'll finish this out.
How hate needs to stop, how the Anti-Hate Taskforce will be convened, working with Victoria Police, working with the Jewish community, working with all Victorians, how we put a stop put a stop to this hateful behaviour and recognise that hate has no place here in our state. And I say this, I'll continue to stand with the strong, proud Jewish community here in Victoria.
So anytime something happens and they are so-called victims, now, mind you, Jake, they are targets of homicides every damn day, whether it's their own people or even, other nations. Esau ain't stopped lynching Negroes in America. It's still happening in 2025. There ain't no task force, against the homicide of so-called Negroes. That's not happening. They keep quiet about what they do to the natives here in the country as well. And this was their land. So the audacity, man. And they want to do all this, let's end hatred, let's end, this and that. But meanwhile, listen to this. Hold on, let me bring this back. And he's obviously speaking Yiddish, but the caption is in the screen. So just read the caption in the screen so you can understand what he's saying. So you can translate. All right. These war criminals, that are hard bent on, taking the land that they covet. The scriptures say that they take it by violence, all right, forcibly, against, people that are actually living in that region, in those lands. And but that's not hatred though. Listen to this hate.
מה שעשינו במסגרת מבצע עם כלבי, שהוא חלק מתוך חרבות ברזל באיראן, חייב להיות מושלם במרכבות גדעון ברצועת עזה, ובמה שאנחנו צריכים להמשיך לעשות גם ביהודה ושומרון. אלה משימות שאם לא נסיים אותם, לא הכרענו את האויב הנאצי. ככה אני מסתכל על זה. המלחמה שלנו היום, אליה יצאנו ב7 באוקטובר.
We having what? The Nazi enemy. What is that? What does the Nazis have to do with what you're carrying out in freaking Gaza and warring with Iran? What does that have to do with anything? You see how they speak? But this ain't hatred. Anything to justify genocide. But when they speak it, it ain't hatred. But if you say anything against what they're doing, it's anti-Sem, therefore it's hatred. Y'all gonna continue to get exposed, man. Job 20 and 27, the heavens shall reveal their iniquity and the earth shall rise up against them. And that's what's happening. Nobody no longer agrees with you. Nobody believes the lies that you spew. All right?
היא מלחמה כנגד אויב נאצי שאיים על קיומו של העם היהודי בארץ ישראל. זאת האמת כולה. אז החליט ראש הממשלה שהוא עושה את זה בטור. אני איתו, אין בעיה, בוא נעשה את זה בטור. חיסלת את חיזבאללה, פגעת עכשיו קשות, אולי אפילו מעבר לזה באיראן, עכשיו הגיעה העת לטפל ברצועת עזה. איך עושים את זה? מורידים את הכפפות, מפסיקים את ההומניטרי, מפסיקים חשמל, מפסיקים מים, מתחילים להרוס ומגרשים מרצון, מה שנקרא, הגירה מרצון את העזתים. אין שם בלתי מעורבים, אין שם תמימים, אין שם לא אשמים.
Damn, that's hate. That's hate right there. If you happen to just be dwelling in the land, because your parents, your foreparents were already there, so you can't help that you were born in that space and grew up and had to grow up there and live and occupy. They're saying we don't care who's there. We don't care, history, anything. Which neither anybody living there, if you're not of the descendant, the true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you don't belong there any damn way. So these devils, they definitely don't belong there. But look what they get to do. All right. This ain't nothing by Idumea taking possession. And this is how they doing it, because hey, one of the things that was given to them was that sword. And by that sword shall thou live. All right. That red horse, unto him was given a great sword. But he ain't, but hey, if not wearing, who is he, right?
העזתים, אין שם בלתי מעורבים, אין שם תמימים, אין שם לא אשמים, כולם מבחינתי חמאס.
There's no innocence there. There is no uninvolved there. So you can be a kid, looking for food, but you're Palestinian, right? Parents probably deceased already. You just, wandering alone, trying to figure it out, and they'll shoot you or blow you away because you're a potential target, a terrorist. You're not innocent. You don't belong on that soil. You're trespassing. When they was raised, in that land. This is crazy, man. So if you happen to be one of those people, you're automatically guilty. All right, you don't deserve mercy. You don't deserve nothing. Just kill them off. Anybody giving aid to them, kill them too. That's where it's at right now. All right. Yet you get in other regions of the world, Taskforce to protect you while you're doing this type of shit. Yeah, hey man, the Most High, man. Watch what he gonna do.
העזתים, אין שם בלתי מעורבים, אין שם תמימים, אין שם לא אשמים, כולם מבחינתי חמאסניקים. רצועת...
He said, in my eyes, all of them are Hamas. So, elderly people, women, children, the disabled, they don't have anything to do with none of that crap. They're Hamas too. This is come on, man. And this is how they weigh the violence of the earth in their hands, man. And they try to act like they're the most attacked, hated people on earth. Well, look what you've done to cause that. You're not innocent at all. We need a task force, man. This is Job 9 and 20. It says, if I justify myself, my own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, and that's how they act. They act like they're perfect people. Like everything that, that they got coming at them, and why the world feels the way that they do about them is not warranted. Like it hasn't been an accumulation of things throughout history that you've been responsible for, and you're supposed to just sweep it all away. So you're just perfect. It says, if I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse. And hey, these devils, man, they're perverse. All right. Let me go to Psalm 36 real quick. These are not the people of the Most High, man. Psalm 36 in the NLT. And it says, sin whispers to the wicked deep within their hearts. They have no fear of the Most High at all. In their blind conceit, right? They cannot see how wicked they really are. And you see them on these platforms. You see them on Piers Morgan doing all type of mental gymnastics. A lot of, deflection, a lot of projection. When you speak to them about the crimes that, their Zionist elite are doing, and all they can really do is just and it pisses you off, man. And their blind conceit, thinking that they're just, they're holy. The Most High is only dealing with them. They're the only hated group on the face of the planet. They're the only ones that's going through this. Nah, man. Not while you being an aggressor and committing all this genocide and controlling and taking over every damn thing. How could that simultaneously happen? You know? So this is the shit like this is what they get to do. In the same vein, speaking like, hold on, let me pause this. They get to do all that in the same vein while speaking as if, you know, they need protection because, you know, they're being attacked. They're being the most hated, and you know, the world's coming against us. You know, we just want to worship Hashem, and we want to, you know, go into the synagogues and nah, man, stop it. Let me get real quick. Go to Job 20. Yeah, this is Job 20 and 18. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to a substance shall the restitution be. All the wealth that they've accumulated over the course of time, basically because of lies, you know, fraud, deception, putting everybody in debt. It says, and he shall not rejoice therein, because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. So there ain't gonna be no quietness in your belly, man. You will not live in peace. All right, there's no peace unto the wicked. Okay. So let me go back here. This is Psalm 36 and 2 again. It says, in their blind deceit, they cannot see how wicked they really are, and they really can't. But we know them to be the border of wickedness, in whom the Lord said he will have indignation forever. So they can't see it. They're naturally this way, you know. That's is really part of their nature to be this wicked. It says everything they say is crooked and deceitful. They refuse to act wisely or do good. They lie awake at night, hatching sinful plots. Their actions are never good. Yeah, sinful plots. The FFs. Okay. That's what they'll do. Set up these events, and then they'll have a bill or legislation to go right along with it. That's what they do, and that's how they get more power into their hands. Their actions are never good. They make no attempt to turn from evil. Well, hey, like it says in Jeremiah, can an Ethiopian change his skin, or a leopard his spots? You know, he's not accustomed to do good because he's accustomed to doing evil. All right, it's in his DNA, it's in his veins. Okay. So going back here, this is why, you know, he's not going to feel any quietness in his belly. So this is why they have to come up with these, you know, more legislation to take away your freedom. And now they want to monitor you, you know, through the use of basically AI police, this technocracy that they're rolling out. It's going to be digital militarized surveillance police. It's going to track and watch and listen to everything that you say and do. All right. A dystopian for us and a utopia for the elite. That's what this is all about. All right. So yeah, that time is coming, man, and you can't hide yourself. All these different things that you're doing, you're pretty much showing your hand that you really are. All right, you're the Edomite. All right, Jeremiah 49:10, it says, but I have made Esau bare, and I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled in his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. All right, so that's why eventually I'm going to, you know, pay the piper, man. You're you got to drink of the cup. Yeah, this is hypocrisy and wickedness. But do what y'all got to do, man. You know, with your unrighteous decrees, you know, framing mischief by law. So anyway, with that, I'm going to give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai. Shalom.